Hey, hey. Okay, we're live.
Oh,
Glad
great.
to see you.
What's that, Jack?
Oh, can you hear me, David?
Yeah, I've got only mono though, no stereo.
Oh, hopefully you can deal with me in mono.
I don't think it's your fault. I think it's Apple's fault.
So we're just letting people coming in at the moment. We've got Robert, Lucas, Hashir. Hey, guys. This is the first test for us doing it on YouTube, so bear with us if there are any technical difficulties. But we just wanted to hang out with you guys, and then also any new users of Glide as well we've invited, because in the last webinar that we did, we didn't have time for questions, so David's going to answer those. If you're on, you're all on YouTube, so please, if you have questions, put them in the chat and I will queue them up and then ask David them. So yeah, David, take it away.
Well, wonderful. Welcome. I'm sure people are just trickling in. That's totally fine. This is meant to be a little bit more informal. I'm going to move my screens around. I don't have my normal setup. Yeah, we occasionally have these Glide togethers or these webinars where we show a bunch of new features. We did one a couple of weeks ago and it was just jam packed with us broadcasting and we didn't have time for Q&A. And because it's the holiday season and it's chilly, at least where we live, and we're all cooped up inside for various environmental reasons. I thought it would be promote public health and safety for us to just get together and talk about staying safe and warm inside working on Glide. So I guess I'll start with a demo. It looks like a lot of people I see joining are old hands in the Glide community. So I don't know how much you guys are going to benefit from a Glide 101 demo. But I'll do one anyway, just to sort of set the context, and especially while we're waiting for some more people. Okay, let me just share my screen, and then we can just do some Q&A. And we're going to do this every week. So if you miss Jack and me, you can just show up every Wednesday. Jack's going on vacation next week, but I'll be here. And
no, I'll be here next week.
Oh, you'll be here. Okay, and we'll probably have some new features to show off as well.
We probably won't do it on Christmas, though, unfortunately. I think everyone will be busy.
Okay, so I'm sharing. Jack, I'm sharing now.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So as many of you know, this is Glide. Glide lets you build beautiful, useful apps that you can share with anyone based on Google Sheets. So I'll just do a quick demo. So inside of Glide, you click Create App from Google Sheet. And I'm just going to do our traditional demo of an employee directory. And nothing is showing up here. I've never seen this happen before. Okay, I'm going to refresh. Yeah. So this is just the Google picker. This is kind of a neat thing. We're trying to be very narrow in the permissions that Glide has to access your Google account. So interesting detail, this file picker is run by Google. Glide says, hey, Google, we'd like to pick the user would like to pick a Google Sheet. And Glide can't see all of these files. You're actually interacting with Google here. And once you pick the sheet, then Glide has permission to look at it. That's kind of like a cool detail. So we always pick the employee directory sheet because it's just a list of people and it's very relatable. And it's something that any company might want to create. So you pick this sheet of data, and we can actually we can edit the sheet just to launch into Google Sheets really quick. So you can see normal spreadsheet, rows of data. The special format that Glide expects is Glide expects each row to be an object or a record, with your first row containing the names of the properties that each item in each row has. So you can see employees have name, title, and phone number, and then each row is an employee. Glide looks at this and assembles an app, and then you can start to customize it based on, we create all these standard layouts that you would expect an app to have that you're probably familiar with. So it's nice to represent pictures of people with a circle to sort of, suggest the shape of the human head. It sounded much less romantic than I thought when I was formulating the sentence in my mind. But so here you have it. You have this app, and it's searchable. So you need to call Alan. You can search Alan and here's his phone number. But we want to change the layout a little bit so we can very easily pick a photo, and we can add properties. So we're going to add a phone component. So this is very typical, especially in an app with contacts, is you want to show a phone number and you want to let people call and text that phone number. So we just give you this component called phone that has all of this functionality. You don't have to write any code, and you know, it's done. You can ship it. And when you're ready, you just publish the app to the internet. You click share, you confirm that you want to publish it, and then you get this QR code you can scan with your phone, and you have a link you can share. And anyone who opens this link will instantly be using the app. They don't go to the app store. Let me just show as an example. So here's this app. It is in public mode, so you can change the privacy settings of this app. Let me zoom out a little bit. And you can see here is that phone number component we just made. And you can add this to your home screen on your iOS or Android device, and we have tablet layouts. So that's the story of Glide. So with that, I'll stop the demo because I think it's redundant for a lot of the people I've seen join. Oh, Jack, you'll have to stop it. So cool.
Yeah, thanks, David. We've had one question so far. Guys, if you have questions, please do put them in the YouTube chat, and I will queue them up. Valentine, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, says, hey, David, can you show us how to set up notifications for Android?
So we have limited support for notifications on Android. Notifications are sent when users add comments or chat in the app. If users already participated in a chat thread or a comment thread and someone else posts, they will get a push notification. This doesn't require any setup. It's all automatic. And unfortunately, it's only available on Android. It's not supported on iOS. So yeah, there's no customization for those push notifications yet. But one of our recent new features added to Glide is actions. So we're very excited to have some sort of notification action. We have an action today called notification that just shows a pop-up, but some sort of push notification conduit that you guys can incorporate into your own workflows to send notifications. That's something we'll explore next year.
So we have a question. I can put it up on screen. Can you see that? If you guys are collecting questions, yeah.
Yeah. So V88 Google wants to know how do we sort of logically, or with conditions, prevent people from submitting forms? That is it's a great question. That's not something that we can do just yet. But there's a couple different approaches we could take. One is letting you override the form submission action to include criteria that would, display a notification rather than submit the form, or submit the form if everything is in order. So that's something we're really eager to do. But the way forms traditionally work is they have sort of like default mechanism to make it really easy to set up. Transitioning that into like a custom thing that you can override is kind of like a power user intermediate feature. So we have to tread very lightly there about how, because we want Glide to kind of default to work in the way that you've seen it work before. And the thing that Mark's mentioning here is a little bit of an intermediate or advanced feature that we wouldn't want to trip up our beginner users. So that's going to take some care.
So we have another one from Valentine. How can we add an ad as on Glide as a pop-up?
So Glide doesn't have a custom pop-up feature yet, so you can't do what you're asking. But if you do want to show ads in Glide, you'll have to figure out how to embed them yourself, either with our web view component, where you can embed a web page, or if you just want an ad, it could be a text ad. You could put some text in your app with a link, or you could do an image. Glide does not support ad frameworks natively as a first-class feature. We're not interested in that. We don't think that Glide's business isn't helping you show ads to people. That we're more focused on apps for productivity, apps for business, apps used by employees of companies, as our example suggests. So yeah, if you're trying to make an app to distribute widely and to make money off of showing ads in it, Glide's not a good platform to pick for that.
Okay. Fabio has said this question. I'm not sure whether I understand. Is there a way to open the app on a different tab than the first down left?
Right. So when you first run a Glide app, the first tab in the app is the default.
Oh, I see. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
And there's no way to do this, but that's a great idea. And we have some changes coming to the layout of Glide's Builder that's going to make it easier to edit your tabs and edit components, and for us to add more features. So yeah, that's something we could do, is let you pick what is the default tab to display. There's going to be some subtlety about like how that interacts with, if that tab is hidden,
yeah,
what do we pick as an alternative? But that's a great request. Fabio, can you tell us a little bit more about your use case?
Yeah, please do. We'll move on to another question just for the moment.
Sure.
And,
yeah, it's pretty common for people to want like the center tab to be the default, just for the look and feel.
Ownband is asking about memberships and paywalls.
Okay, yeah, there are many ways to do this. We don't support paid subscriptions natively in the app, but a lot of people build them. You can use conditional visibility of tabs to require people to make a purchase, and then use the logic of the data in the spreadsheet that the purchase updates to show them more information. So this is something you can totally build yourself in Glide.
Mm-hmm. Another one from Valentine. This is about different payment methods, I think, perhaps.
Yeah, so we only support Stripe right now. And if Stripe is not supported in your country, then you're pretty limited with the payment features you can use in Glide. And I don't have any other updates on that. We only offer Stripe. We're eager for Stripe to expand to more countries. I know they have aggressive plans to do this. They just made an important acquisition in Africa to I think help them reach more African countries with Stripe. Yeah.
Meaningful Life is asking, what's an organization?
Great question. Jack, let's go back to a demo. I want to show this really quickly.
Sure.
Let's see. The organizations feature, perhaps we picked the wrong name for this, but an organization is like a team. So in the bottom left of Glide, it was actually a little bit obscured, Jack, by the question on the screen. Sorry. But you can see my cursor. Oh, there we go. This add organization. I think we're going to rename this to new team or something. So when you add an organization, you're going to be asked some qualifying questions. These questions aren't super important. So let's say we'll use my favorite. If anybody on this stream has worked at Microsoft, you will recognize this fake company name, which was used in lots of Microsoft demos. So let's say we're a farming organization. We're going to have mixed private and public use, and we're going to have 50 to 100 people using them. We're going to create an organization with that name. And you can see a folder is added on the left. And what I can do is I can transfer apps into this organization. And I get this warning that members of the organization are going to be able to edit this app and view its data. And I can move apps in here. And you can see when I open Contoso, here's this employees app. But the important thing is I can add members. So if I add Jack, he will get an email to join this organization. And again, I'm warned that if I add him, he can see the data in this app. It's just a very important thing we want you to understand. Members of your organization can edit the apps, and they can see the data connected to them. So if you make an employee directory for your company, anyone you add is going to be able to edit it. So this just sent Jack an invitation to join, and he'll be able to see this Contoso organization on his own, add apps to it, make updates to apps, and we can work together. So it's just a way to collaborate with other people. And it's also important to know that the billing is separate. Each organization sort of has its own account. So the subscriptions are totally separate. The payment method is separate. So if you are building Glide apps for a couple of different companies, you can make a couple organizations. They each have their own credit cards, their own subscriptions. They're built independently. And then you can add collaborators.
Great, thanks, David. So just going back to the comments here. Loads going in. Bear with me a second, guys.
I like, in organization, I can still limit the visibility and edit option. So the apps have all the same features. So anything you can build in an app, it doesn't matter whether it's in an organization or under your My App section. You can't limit the visibility or editing rights of the individual apps within the organization with respect to the organization members. Every member of an organization can edit any of the apps. Scarlett, can we get a split view of the database and the configuration interface? Great question. We tried it. We did a quick implementation showing the data editor and the designer at the same time. It was really bad. Not to say that it's bad in principle, just with our quick and dirty implementation, it just did not feel right. But we are interested in sort of bridging this gap between the design world and the data world to make it less exclusive between the two, where you're sort of constantly switching modes. So we want to let you, for example, when you're designing your app and you need a new image property, that you could just add that property, in the image component and upload an image, and it would create a column in your sheet, for example. So we're going to try to sort of enmesh these a little bit more, so you're not sort of artificially switching between these two zones so often.
Google is talking about a rumor about side-by-side components or aligned components.
Yes. Glide is not a very secretive company. So we don't have rumors so much as we just talk about what we're going to do. And I mentioned that we have a new layout coming to the Glide Builder that's going to be the most significant change to the app development experience that we've done in 2 years. Glide has mostly been structurally unchanged since we created it as an early prototype. You kind of have these icons for switching modes on the left. We, in the last year, added a data editor, which is a significant area of interaction. And then on the right-hand side, you have this complex hierarchical properties panel where, for example, you see a list of components, and if you tap one, you go into that component, and then you can go back. And so we modeled it kind of after a mobile phone navigation, thinking that would be very familiar. And one of our original goals was to make it feel natural to edit a Glide app on a tablet. So with everything consolidated on this right-hand panel, it was very easy to hold a tablet and sort of thumb your way around editing your app. But not a lot of people are editing Glide apps on tablets. It's mostly traditional form factors, laptops and desktops. And so we are going to fix some of our navigation quirks in the development environment. You should see it by mid-January, I'm thinking. Engineers are working on it right now today, and it will reconfigure Glide to feel a little bit easier to edit on your laptop, for example. So at a high level, on the left-hand side of the editor, you'll have like a list of components, and when you select one of the components, you'll see its properties in a property panel. Many of us have used tools that have a sort of standard layout like this. And once we do that, we can do things like grouping components together in a folder, for example, or a logical group, and then you could apply a visibility condition to that group, and then maybe you could apply a style to that group someday. So maybe there's padding or a border. We won't support grouping right away with the redesign, but it will be one of the next features that redesign will let us do.
Christian's asking about the functionality of marketplaces. Is that something that we plan to support in the future?
A marketplace. Well, you can make a marketplace. I'm not super familiar with this term marketplace. I think what you mean is, can you make an app where multiple vendors will all sign up to sell their wares, and they'll each have their own account, they'll get paid directly, and you will be able to take a cut of it. Because today you can make a store on Glide, you can sell your own things, but you want to create a place where other people can sell their things in a common market. We don't have any plans to do this. We are interested in supporting more of the Stripe feature set. So we continuously, review the features that Stripe is rolling out to see if we can enable them in the app. But this is not one of our short-term goals, marketplace apps.
So Fabio had a question earlier about the first tab and changing the first tab. And you asked him about his use case. He's just commented this. Right.
So it sounds like, Fabio, you want this on like a conditional basis. So certain users go right to delivery, but other users go to the first tab. Is that what you're thinking? Well, no need to answer, but yeah, thank you for the use case. It's something we can take into consideration. That is interesting.
Oh, preventing downloads on videos. Yeah. It's tricky.
So this is platform specific. So this we just use the native platform video player on iOS or Android or whatever browser you're using, and those controls just like you can download basically any image. Whenever you go to a website, if you see an image, you can download that image. It's the same for videos. So if you have a use case where you want to show people videos but prevent them from downloading, you need to use a special purpose service that's built for that. We recommend Vimeo. Vimeo has an embed option. It's not free. This is a valuable, hard to build feature that companies sell. So if you want to do this, you should be prepared to pay for it, and we don't sell it. But you can buy it from Vimeo, and then you can use Vimeo links in your Glide app. We've had, private yoga classes where they don't want people to share the material. You need to use a real video hosting platform. Glide is not that. Maybe someday we could offer features like this, but we don't have that.
Jared is asking about user-specific data when adding from a form. So I'm not sure what he's trying to do there. Could be talking about rows or securing those rows with row owners.
Yeah, I mean, you can do this today. So what you need to do is when a user submits a form, you have to include some information from their profile that identifies them. So it could be their email address. We don't recommend using the email address. We recommend using a user identifier that's kind of anonymous. So you could turn on row IDs for your users, and every time a user adds their favorite movie to a list, include their row ID, and that will tie that back to that user.
I'm going to skip forward a few questions because I
Sure.
like this one.
Yes, we are working on QR code and barcode scanning action. Some of you have found it on our preview testing server. So you will be able to scan QR codes and barcodes soon. We're really excited, Mike, for you to try it and give us feedback about how you'd like to use it in your app, because people will tell us they want QR code scanning, but it's what happens after you scan the QR code that's most interesting to most people. So we're excited to learn what you want to do with this data. An example is you might have an inventory of items, maybe a list of 10,000 items, and you want to scan a barcode that would go to the corresponding item and show you its details. That we're not building that yet. We're starting just with this atomic element of an action that will scan a barcode and write its value into your spreadsheet. And then you could you could construct a relation based on that. You could go to a screen based on that. So yeah, we're excited for people to try this and to help us think at a higher level about what you want to do after you scan something.
Christian's asking about a GDPR package. Yeah.
Yes, we're hard at work on this. And you should see updates in the new year. That being said, one of our goals at Glide is to help you. We view Glide as we want it to be a better way to make software. And there's lots of ways that software can be improved, and the process of making it can be improved. And one, it can be easier to build technically. And that's something we've been making progress on. But another thing is it can be more secure, more compliant, more respecting of users' privacy. And the whole world, I think, is growing up. Our perspective on software is growing up. It used to be, the Wild West. You just make software and use it. And now we understand there are huge consequences to how secure your software is or what kind of behavior it promotes. We're not interested in the behavior aspect. That's up for the software author to decide. But we are interested in security and privacy. So we've done a lot of work on that in the last couple of months with features like role-based authentication and protected columns, and our new default behavior of creating anonymous email addresses for users who sign in. So yeah, stay tuned in January for some announcements about this.
So Scarlett's just said a really nice comment, which I'm going to put up. And she also asked a question, which was about testing, basically.
Yeah, thank you, Scarlett, for the encouragement. More automated testing and/or version control. Excellent question. So that version control is something that we wanted to do this year, and we're not going to get to it. We wanted to make it so you could work on a version of your app that would not be published right away. And once you were ready and confident in it, you could press a button and it would get pushed to your users. The way Glide works today is a lot like a spreadsheet. Like, there's no difference between editing and updating your app. Like, to edit your Glide app is to update it. And if you have 1,000 employees in your company using the app and you're trying to change it around, that can be pretty uncomfortable. And there's some strategies to work around that for now, but yeah, we would really like to build version control. It's very tricky though, because your app is so intertwined with the data set, with the database, the sheet. So for example, if you're working on a draft version of your app and then you want to remove a column from your sheet that's used in the live app, what do we do? And if we do nothing, how do we communicate to you that the design of your app is in draft mode, but the data is always live? That's hard to explain. So yeah, genuinely a tricky problem.
So we probably have time for maybe a couple more questions. I'm going to pull one up about actions here, integrating with Integromat, and then also we have another one from Kyle about actions.
Luther, that is a great question. We've talked to Integromat about it. It's just a matter of finding time. Integromat has even generously offered to lend us an engineer to help us build it. So thank you for reminding me. Maybe I can take them up on that. Yeah, we would like to let Glide extend its reach into all the third-party services that you're interested in. And we started with Zapier because we were familiar with it and we use it. But yeah, Integromat would be an excellent addition to Glide. So we'll look into that.
So I think this is Kyle, if I remember. Yeah, asking about looking at
it's funny because Jack and I know the names behind some of these people from their, I think, matching their avatars.
I probably shouldn't be saying it for GDPR.
Yeah, Sandy Hill.
Sorry, Sandy Hill.
Excellent question. Very exciting question. Yeah, this is also a tricky technical thing for us to implement. This is definitely a question from Mark, our CTO. But yes, we definitely want you to be able to, if you have an order with a relation to 100 items in the order, when you should be able to say, when I complete the order, I want to, increment a number of orders on each item or something like that. So yeah, I think we have to do this to make Glide more expressive. But that's going to take some interesting. We'll have to sort of level up the way we communicate with Google Sheets. We could do this, I think, with Glide tables, our built-in data source, in a straightforward way. But like updating hundreds or 1,000 rows in a Google Sheet at the same time in this way is going to be an interesting technical challenge.
I think probably wrap up with this last question, which is about teasers for next year from Valentine.
What to expect? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think the main one to expect is just some big design updates to make it easier to build your apps in Glide. Today, you'll find yourself constantly switching between the data editor and this sort of tabs navigation management panel and layout. We're just going to rearrange those things to make it a little bit clearer and more normal to navigate in the builder. So I think you guys can expect to feel like a big productivity boost, a lot more clarity when you're editing the Glide app. And another thing I really want to get in is the tablet layout preview in the builder. So if you're on a big enough screen, you should be able to toggle between the phone layout and the large screen layout that you can use on the pro version of Glide. So yeah, I hope to get that in January.
Great. Thank you, everyone. We're going to wrap it up there, I think. Thank you so much for coming along. This is the first one of these weekly webinars that we're doing. If you have any feedback and you're on the forum, do please let me know in the thread. I'm just going to post it in the comments here. And if you had any questions that didn't get answered, we'll do our best to answer them there. But yeah, thank you for coming along. David, do you have any other things you want to say?
No, but yeah, if you have anyone interested in Glide and they want to join us next week, we'd love to have more people join. And I guess this is mostly useful to people who are pretty familiar with Glide if we're going to center this around Q&A. But yeah, it's great to spend some time with you guys, and stay safe and warm this holiday season.
See ya.